Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Aaron Thompson. I am a professional life coach and emotional intelligence facilitator. So today what I'm going to be doing from the comfort of my own home and this comfy little chair is talk you through ways in which you can be less overthinky and anxious and caught up in your own stuff and more confident, more self-assured and have more self-belief. And for this, we need to first understand that all of these problems, all of the things that are going on for us are born in the mind. All of these thoughts and feelings that we have start with how we see the world. And this is the problem. The thing is not out there, it's not with other people or with the situation that you're in, or even with your own abilities and capabilities to handle things in a better way. All we need to do is see life in a way that's more accurate and more helpful to us. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you, which is a little bit of a weird thing to think about, is that the thoughts that we largely have are not our own. We do not think those thoughts. The mind thinks those thoughts and we have the thoughts of the mind. And that might be a bit strange for some of you hearing that for the first time, but I want to demonstrate this with an example, with an exercise that we can do to see how the mind actually works. Because before we understand how the mind works and what's going on and how we think, then we aren't really having a look at the problem in the best possible way. So to do that, we're going to start off with an exercise. You're just going to get in a comfortable position and you're going to close your eyes. Now, I really want you to participate in this exercise, otherwise you're not going to be able to experience what I'm talking about. So if you're at home and you're just having a look and seeing whether it's good or not and whether you will participate, just get involved and trust that it's going to be a fun time. So first of all, close your eyes. And now what you're going to do for the next 30 seconds is you are going to just stop all thinking. Okay, so just try your hardest to stop thinking anything at all and just notice of any narrative or inner voice or inner chatter that happens whilst you're sat there. Notice any judgments or opinions, maybe any assessments about what's going on, how this workshop's already going, your opinions of me, what I'm saying. Maybe you're distracted about what you have lined up for dinner, what you're doing later on, whether you should be participating in some other workshop or event. Okay, great. Now the next thing you're going to do with your eyes still closed, you're going to only think about a pink elephant. Okay, so close your eyes and only think about a pink elephant. So just imagine this pink elephant, visualize this pink elephant in your mind's eye. What does it look like? How is it appearing for you? Just keep your attention there on that pink elephant. Do not lose sight of this pink elephant. Keep thinking about it. What's it doing? Do not let any other thoughts distract you. Do not let your mind wander. Pink elephant, pink elephant, pink elephant. Notice what happens. Notice if any thoughts are getting in the way or coming in, or if you notice any narrative happening whilst you're trying to think of this pink elephant. Alright, cool. Just notice what the experience of that part was as well. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to think about anything that you want, except for the pink elephant you just imagined. So keep your eyes closed and just see if you can do this. It's quite a fun game. See if you can just not think about the pink elephant. You can think about anything you like, just not that pink elephant. Not the pink elephant. Do not think of it. Do not visualize it. Anything you like, just not the pink elephant. Alright, great. How was that for you? Just noticing, how did you find that? Were you able to stop your thoughts completely? Probably not, that's probably why you're here. Were you able to keep your mind only focused on the pink elephant? You probably had some things creep in. Were you able to think of anything but the pink elephant? Probably, if you're human like me, then you would have just had this like invasive thought about this pink elephant, and maybe you tried to think of something else to distract you. Maybe you just got distracted by the pink elephant. That's the only thing that you could think of. But here's a really simple and easy exercise for us to see how thinking works. We are not actually in control of the majority of the thoughts that we have, right? So there's us. We're getting ourselves in a tizzy, we're getting anxious, we're getting upset by a certain situation, and yet we try to fight these thoughts and try to stop them and try to think our way out of these thoughts. But that just creates more anxiety around it. We start to run away from ourselves, or we start to suppress our emotions that come from these thoughts, and it becomes hectic, right? It stops us in having deep and connected relationships. It stops us from getting on with our dream projects and the things that we want to do. It stops us from being our full expression of ourselves and confident and bold in life and doing the things that we want to do. And we just don't know how to deal with this. So knowing now that our thoughts are actually largely automatic, what can we do with those? It's a weird scenario when we realize that, and we realize that actually these aren't even my thoughts. The mind has those thoughts and generates those thoughts, and I have its thoughts. Just as the heart beats and I have its beating. I'm not doing the beating, but I definitely have that. I experience that as a part of me. The same is true for the mind as well. And this is because the mind is built to be automatic. That when you were younger, you learned about the world, you learned about who you are and about how you need to show up and your abilities and who you need to be to please your parents and be liked by your peers and get on in the world. And this is all the subconscious learning that we do as a child. And then that is taken from childhood into today, where we then are left with this mind that works by itself to try and protect us. And when we understand this, then the self-saboteur, then the part of us that is self-critical, the part of us that like doesn't want to do things, that is fearful or is angry or sad, that part is actually protecting us. So we can start to then become kinder to ourselves rather than fighting ourselves and creating more thoughts and then getting super in our heads about what's going on. So the alternative to fighting ourselves or getting stuck in our minds about what's happening is to really see the thoughts for what they are, which is an ongoing process of automatic narrative. They're thoughts that aren't even our own. Why would we ever choose thoughts that don't help us, that don't serve us, that make us feel insecure? It would be bizarre to think of things that wind up giving us emotions that we don't feel comfortable. So are they even ours? Can we say they're ours if we didn't consciously decide to think them? Probably not. And so knowing that, we can then create a little bit of space between us and those thoughts, between us and our mind. One way we can do that, if you've got your phone or a pen and a paper, grab that, and you can also pause the video if you need a little bit of time with this, and think about what is your most persistent, reoccurring insecurity, concern, or self-criticism. And think about that now. What shows up for you most regularly? Okay, so just bring that to mind. Think about what it is for you. It's different for everyone. Maybe it's that I'm stupid, maybe I'm not capable, maybe it's that I'm not attractive enough. And these are all the things that we learned growing up that we need to be, that gave us validation, that meant that we were part of a social group, that meant that our parents would like us enough to take care of us. What is it for you? Where in your life right now do you feel like it's not working? That you feel like you're most heady? Okay, so write that down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have a look at that, and you're going to give truth to it. And you're going to believe it. You're going to look at that, and how does it feel in your body to believe that insecurity? Just feel what that's like. Feel what that's like inside of you. What emotions and feelings come up when you believe in that. Okay? Just notice the experience of that as being true. That thought that you didn't create as being true. Now what you're going to do is you're going to write that out again, but before the sentence of your recurring insecurity or concern or self-criticism, you're going to write, I am having the thought that, and then write it out again. Okay, so it would sound something like, I'm having the thought that I am stupid. Okay, so then once you've done that, have a look at that and see how that feels. See what happens when you write that in front of it, and just feel again that in your body. what kind of a weight does that have? Does it have any power like it did before? How does it feel? So just take a bit of time to notice that. And then what you're going to do is the last time you're going to write the sentence out again, but you're going to write, I am noticing that I'm having the thought that I'm stupid, or whatever your insecurity is. And then once you've written that out again, just have a look at that, feel into that. What does that look like? What does that feel like when you're doing it with that sentence before it? Great. So just take a little bit of time, read that through. How does it feel now? What's the difference? Can you notice the difference between the first time and the last time? What you'll probably notice is that you've created a little bit of space between you and that thought. What you're doing is you're now seeing the thought for what it is, which is just a thought. It can seem really scary, it can seem kind of hectic, but actually it's like a wasp without a stinger. Right? Like often we're running away from it, we don't want it, we're suppressing our emotions that come with it, we're fighting ourselves, we're trying to think our way out of it, we distract ourselves with Netflix or going out or games or social media. We perhaps quit on the jobs that we want, we quit on the projects that we want to do. We try to overthink our way out of it, trying to find evidence for the fact that we're good enough and that we can do it. Or we even go to perhaps substances or alcohol or sex or self-harm even. These are the ways out that we try to get rid of those thoughts and thus those feelings. But as we've seen, those become more invasive the more we try to get rid of it. But what we should do is not look to change it, because at the end of the day, it's nothing harmful, it's just a thought, and not even our own thought. What we can do is create a little bit of the space between us and that thought and say, okay, yeah, I'm noticing that I'm having a thought that I'm stupid. I'm noticing that there's a tension in my body. Yeah, it's in my chest here, and I know that feeling to be like anxiety. Or I know there's a weight in my stomach, and yeah, it feels kind of blue and heavy, and it feels kind of like dark and a bit deeper in me there. Oh, I know that's sadness, and noticing where that comes from. And when we do that, we're no longer in the grips of it, we're no longer struggling with it like we did before. And that creates space for us to act, to feel, to think in a way that's congruent, that's aligned with who we are. Because deep down, we know who we are. Deep down, we know what we want. Deep down, we're confident, we're expressive, we're joyful, we're happy. We just need to remove some of the illusion, remove some of those thoughts that get in the way of us seeing that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to imagine that self-saboteur, those critical thoughts or feelings inside of you, they aren't some monstrous thing that you need to attack or slay, or a dragon that you need to get rid of, but actually they're just a small kid, your inner child. You can imagine them dressed up in cardboard armor, and they're trying to protect you with that self-criticism, with stopping you from doing the things that you love, because they're fearful that you are going to get into trouble. They're fearful that people are going to say maybe horrible things about you. So once you see that, then you instinctively have this sense of compassion and love and kindness for that part of yourself that perhaps wasn't there before, because you were struggling with thoughts that were automatic and weren't even your own. So the last thing that we're going to do to enable us to then step into our full power, into our confidence, into the person that truthfully we are in the core of ourselves. And we're going to now write a little love letter to ourselves. This is a really lovely exercise, and the first time I did this, I cried my eyes out. It was so sweet, because I was able to support all my friends and all my family with all of their stuff, but I would never be able to say these things to myself. So what you're going to do is take pen and paper, and you're going to imagine that you're with that part of yourself, you're with that child, and you're going to give them the love that they need, the words that they need to hear. The confidence that we have inside ourselves doesn't come from believing that we're good looking enough, or that we're able enough, or that we're the man or we're the woman, or we're attractive enough or appealing enough. Actually, it comes from recognizing that we are okay as idiots. We are a twat like everybody else in the world, that we can mess up, and we're fallible, and we're going to make mistakes, and that's really okay. That's super, super cool. So we're not trying to convince ourselves that we are something. We're trying to say to ourselves, or we're saying to ourselves, it's okay the way we are. So if it's a struggle to hear that from yourself, then what you can do is you can also imagine maybe someone that you love, that you'd love to hear some nice words from. You could imagine someone that you admire, so it could be like Michelle Obama, it could be Dalai Lama, it could be Jesus. Imagine this person's with you and saying some things that you need to hear. So now just write down and talk to that part of you that feels insecure, that voice, and just exactly what you need to hear in this moment. What you'll find is that there's a lightness, you have the wisdom inside of you, you're able to contact that place and step into the person that you know you are. So just take a few moments now, either in your phone or with a pen and paper, just to write down what you want to hear from yourself or from a loved one or from somebody that you admire, and see what happens. And you can pause the video if you want more time. But this is the exercise right now where we can see what we've done is we've seen how our thoughts operate. We've seen that we are not in control of the majority of our thoughts, that these are the unconscious process, the stream of thoughts that happen, that were created when we were a child to look after ourselves so we don't get into trouble, we're not rejected socially. And by fighting them, they're only more invasive, more troubling. By suppressing them, then we make life a little bit meaningless. And so what we can do is give space to them, see them for what they are, which is just thoughts and not reality. Love them, speak back to them, give them that reassurance that everything is okay, that we are okay, that everything will turn out fine. And this is the way, the best way that I've found for us to stop overthinking things and stop kind of getting caught in our mind and trying to think something different, but saying, yeah, it's cool. You know, okay, I'm noticing these thoughts coming along, and then step into actually, what do I believe to be true? What is the real me? What is the conscious me that I want to step into? Guys, I hope this helps. If you've enjoyed it, then you can follow me on Instagram, Aaron J. Thompson. I'll be doing some workshops, some events online, so check out those as well. We'll dive deeper into the ways in which the mind works, the ways in which our emotions work, how we can deal with them as the negative emotions and feelings come up, and how we can realign ourselves to what's most important, what we care about most, how we want to build our lives and live as our best selves in our dream lives. Sounds kind of cliche and cheesy, but it's good fun and it really does work. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, please donate to Prince's Trust. It's an amazing cause, and reach out, let me hear your stories and your insights from today. And even if you want to follow up and maybe even explore one-on-one coaching as well with me, then we can do that too. Big love, we'll see you soon.